Hello, I'm Cordell Otley with Amelicor. Amelicor has been in the industry since the beginning of computers, and most of the time we were working on keeping track of cow records. However, we noticed a big challenge that our users were facing. The challenge is that 50 to 60% of expenses on the dairy are from feed, and is a major factor affecting milk production. Whether we're talking about milk production or components, it's also because of feed. Feed is a big deal on the dairy, and there had to be a better way to track what was happening, so improvement could be made. That's why EZfeed was created. Look at it as your companion to help manage feed operations on your dairy. It's really no wonder why there's a lot of buzz over EZfeed throughout the industry, because it helps everyone vastly improve their business within a short period of time using it. That said, I want this video to help answer 9 of the most common questions we get before users decide to add EZfeed to their operation. So, I'm going to talk about what a typical feeding procedure looks like with EZfeed and how that information gets saved, how the software communicates with your scales, how to make changes while out in the field, as well as many benefits of EZfeed. I'll also go over what installation and support looks like and the training you will get. Okay, question number 1 is, what is a typical feeding procedure with EZfeed? Before I answer the typical question, you have to know that EZfeed software is very flexible and can accommodate most methods of mixing and delivering feed we've seen. Our customers are pleased at how easy the program can be adapted to their operation. We just want to help you keep track of what you are doing so that you can evaluate your methods. Keeping in mind that the software can be customized to meet your needs, here is what a typical description of what we call a scripted feeding scenario. The feeder selects a load, which is usually a list of ingredients in a ration, on our EZfeed tablet computer mounted inside the cab of a tractor. The tablet will display ingredients for that load and begins to communicate with the scale indicator attached to the mixer. From the loader, the feeder watches the scale indicator display for loading instructions, and the software guides the feeder through the ingredients one at a time, loading the prescribed amount as prompted. The feeder then enters the cab of the mixer, and following any required pauses for mixing, the feeder is prompted to go to the first pen on the list. Then, the feeder unloads a predetermined amount and then moves to the next pen on the list. At the end of each load, all the actual loading and unloading information is saved and displayed on the tablet so that the feeder immediately knows how well they did. The loading and unloading data is then synced to the office computer as soon as it connects to a Wi-Fi signal. That is a description of what we call a scripted load. You can watch a detailed demonstration of scripted loads plus the more adaptable flex loads on our website at amelicor.com/tablet. As you can see, most of the action happens while feeding, and all of that information is captured as it happens. This is important because now, back at the office, all of that data can be analyzed and evaluated so you can improve your operation. That brings me to question number 2. How does that information get transferred from the tablet to the desktop office computer? Our EZfeed tablet system offers a robust way of holding on and syncing data to the desktop software in the office, and it's done only via a Wi-Fi network connection. This is nice because Wi-Fi networks are very reliable and quick. They are also very economical to install around the farm. But of course, to be reliable, you have to have an access point on the farm. Like I said, the tablets are very robust. So if a tablet goes out of range of the Wi-Fi signal, the wireless syncing will stop until the tablet is back in range of the signal again, so you don't have to worry about losing data. To maintain a reliable Wi-Fi signal, we recommend the following. There needs to be good Wi-Fi coverage in the area where the mixer is loaded. That way, the data will be syncing while the feed is being loaded. That's productive use of time. If you have multiple loading areas, additional access points are recommended to provide coverage while loading in those areas as well. Also, for a very reliable network, on-site support is needed, along with quick response time when equipment is down. So, we recommend you work with your IT person or IT company, or a local internet provider to help get the best setup and support for your operation. Feel free to have them contact us. We can provide Wi-Fi router and tablet internet access requirements to help them make the best decisions. Okay, number 3. How does the tablet connect to the scale indicator? There are lots of ways to connect the scale indicator to the tablet, but there are 2 or 3 more common options. Number 1, you mount the scale indicator on the mixer with the tablet in the cab of the tractor. This is the least expensive option, but it also requires a feeder to see the display on the mixer and a long cable for the tablet to communicate with the scale indicator. Number 2, the most common method we see is to mount the scale indicator inside the tractor alongside the tablet, and then the remote display is added to the side of the mixer. This makes it easier for the feeder to see the scale indicator, and the remote display is larger for the loader to see. Number 3 is a bit of an upgrade to the last method. The scale indicator is still mounted inside the tractor alongside the tablet, but instead of, or in addition to having the remote display on the mixer, a cab control is mounted in the loader. The cab control is a display that communicates wirelessly with the scale indicator in the tractor. This makes it real easy for the loader, because it's right there with him in the cab. That brings us to question number 4. What scale heads are supported? We are able to use Avery Weightronics AWT640 and many of the Digistar scale heads that have a serial port. If your scale head isn't equipped with the serial port, we can usually accommodate it by sending it off to be upgraded. The best way to know if your scale head is supported is just to ask. Number 5. Can I make changes to the EZfeed data from the tablet while I'm in the tractor? The answer here is yes, to a point. We have made certain vital functions in EZfeed available to be edited using the tablet, but the permission for the functionality has to be enabled using the desktop software. If allowed, these functions include pen count changes, target amounts to feed, both as fed or dry matter fed, ingredient dry matter changes, and feeding scenarios. Number 6, what are the main benefits of the EZfeed software? For starters, it is very easy to learn and to use. It's one of those programs that has a lot of functionality, which makes it very powerful, but it's easy to get up and get going. Another thing is that it's great for owners and managers because it's easy to track if your feeders are doing it right. And for feeders, it helps them improve because they can get immediate feedback. It answers the question, did I load the right amount and how far was I off? It's easy to see because it's color-coded. Green is within the limits, red is outside the limits. Back in the office, you can take advantage of extra insights by linking EZfeed with the most common herd software programs. EZfeed can also be interfaced with many creameries to easily download milk production data. This helps you associate feeding with the core of your business. For additional insights, you can link EZfeed software up to a weather system to see how changes in weather affect production over time. And probably one of the great benefits for anyone in the office is to reduce the challenges with tracking inventory. Even better, you can automate a lot of your inventory management headaches by tracking deliveries and loads leaving the farm by connecting EZweights, our platform scale management program. Of course, there are many other benefits, but those are some great ones to get started. Number 7, how is EZfeed installed and set up? This is another area our customers love. We are very hands-on. To get you up and going, an Amelicor representative will take care of the installation on your farm. We will install the software and take care of the connections that allow the software to interface with your existing or new equipment. With your existing hardware, interfaces will need to be in place before installation takes place, such as Wi-Fi networks or a mixer scale. Then we will get your people involved and do the initial setup and training for feed managers and owners. This means show them how to add ingredients, create rations and loads. Then we will get to the heart of your operation and begin feeder training for feeders and feed managers. We typically start training feeders at the time of the morning feeding. That will lead to secondary training for feed managers. This includes all of the administrative stuff like making changes, reviewing loads, running reports, and setting up interfaces. Maybe you can understand, a lot of the installation process is about support. And that brings me to question number 8. What kind of support do we provide? Support is our number one priority. To keep it easy, typically the person who did the installation will also be available by phone. But in addition, a support representative will be assigned as an additional direct contact when your installer can't be reached. Other ways to get support include: our EZfeed support staff is available during regular business hours, 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. And after hours, there is phone support available, but it's best to get with your primary contact and discuss it. For non-urgent matters, you can always fill out the form on our website at amelicor.com/support, and we'll get back to you. As I said before, the software is very easy to understand, but there is a lot of functionality that can help you grow your business. To help you understand how to expand your knowledge about the software, we come to the last question, number 9. What kind of training do you have available? Every year in October, we host our Herd and Feed Management Conference, which lasts 2 to 3 days and is usually in Las Vegas. We change that up every once in a while, but Vegas is an easy place for everyone to get to. At the conference, you can take advantage of networking with other dairy professionals, attend software-specific training classes, hear from industry speakers, and participate in one-on-one training sessions. The conference is usually a great way to immerse yourself in learning the software, and we try and keep it as economical as possible by getting sponsors involved so they can subsidize some of the costs for the conference. There is something for every part of your operation, so you should definitely send someone every year. Also, typically in the spring, we try and come to you by hosting meetings in various locations, as needed, for software-specific training. To hear about those trainings, subscribe to our email list at amelicor.com/subscribe. Feel free to reach out and let us know if you have an idea for a training in your area. And just because it's the nature of our business model, on-site consulting and training is available as needed. Well, that's it. 9 answers that cover the most common questions we get before our users add EZfeed to their operation. If you have any more questions or just want to talk about how the software can be implemented on your farm, fill out the form on this page and I'll have a representative give you a call.